So in this video, we're going to talk about how to help your child master their multiplication facts. So this is after you've already introduced it and they've had some practice, but you really need them to get fast at them. And the reason why they have to get fast at these. So that way, when you get to higher math, you can just work through the problems really quickly. A lot of schools don't do this anymore, or, they're having trouble getting the parents to get on board with this at home. So this would be one of the best things that you could do with your kids during this time. So I'm going to show you some non-flashcard ways to get this mastered. The first one is called extramath.com. Your child might already have played this at school, and it's a website that's free, and they do like a test on there. You can set up the parameters, so like if you only want them to learn certain multiplication problems, you could select that from the menu. You can select like how fast they should play it, so like whether they should get the answer in 3 seconds or 6 seconds. So the tutor will test them, and then whichever ones they've mastered, then they don't test on those ones as frequently. So the whole idea is to get them learning the ones that they don't know. And so they will walk your student through. So like if you typed in the wrong answer, they will tutor you and say, no, that wasn't right. Here's the right answer. And so it gives you several practices and then another mini test at the end. Every single day it's testing you. And so it should eventually get all of your facts mastered that way. It can be really monotonous. Like at first it seems really exciting and your kid feels like, hey, I've gotten so many right. But then after a while, they'll probably not want to do it anymore. So let's go over some other things that you can do. You can get math keys. I think I picked these up for about $10. And it will test them on numbers 1 through 10. So I would just give my kid a couple of these to do every day, not all of them. But what you do is, let's use the 2s. So you take the first number that it says, so like 6, and you're going to multiply it times 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. So I'm going to wrap it from the 6 to the 12. And then the next one is 5 times 2 is 10. I'm going to wrap it like that. And when you get this all done, you flip it over, and I don't know if you can see the texture on this, but it shows you where the answers should go. So if you've gotten it all right, you won't see any of the ridges, and then you can move on to the next one. Otherwise, you can say, oh, I missed those. I need to go back and check them. This is nice because your kid can do it by themselves. But then you could also do some variations on worksheets. So you can just do your standard table like that. I've done it with just blank numbers, and they fill in the multiples. So that's a nice skill for them to have later on. I've also found these from Math Salamander, and they're just spirals. It's the same thing really, but it's just something different looking, and so it makes them feel like it's new. I've also made tables, and we use these for skip counting. So I say, all right, today is the 2s. So they will just use a highlighter and they mark 2, 4, 6, 8. And it's really fast, and they don't complain about doing this one. Then you can find some worksheets that are more interesting, like holiday ones on Math Salamander. So it gives you a joke, and then you have to break down the code by answering the questions correctly, and then you'll find out the answer to the joke. So that one's kind of fun. You can also find multiplication like word searches. So these ones were free, and I will drop the link down below, and it gives you all the math problems, and then you have to find them in here. So like 2 times 6 is 12. I don't think any of these are backwards, but I think there are diagonals. So this would be challenging for some kids, especially if they have a reading disability. I would not give that to them. So now let's talk about some different games. You can do some partner games. So like you played number draw. So you both put your hands behind your back, and then you say 1, 2, 3, draw. And then you stick up some fingers. So I've got 7. And then let's say that my partner had held up 3. Then I'm going to multiply that 7 times 3. And the first person to say the product wins the round. So they say 21, and then they get the point instead of me. So that's kind of fun to play, and it doesn't require having anything with you. So you could just always play this anytime that you're waiting around. You could also do multiplication tic-tac-toe. So that's like regular tic-tac-toe, but in each square it has a multiplication problem. So in order to put your piece on there or to put your X or O, then you have to answer the problem. And you can find these printable online, or you could just make them up really quickly. There's also a cool game called Spiral. So this uses a deck of cards. You put one card in the middle and then you spiral them all out, and it will make a huge board game. So everybody has a piece and it goes in the middle card. And so you roll a die, and whatever the die is, you multiply it times the number that you're standing on. So like, let's say that I rolled a 5, but I'm standing on the 7. So I'd say 5 times 7 is 35. So if I got it correct, then I get to move forward 5 spaces, and you all take turns, and the first person to make it out of that big spiral wins. I also found this cool printable last night, and it's a Minecraft game, and it kind of works like Trivial Pursuit. So you work around the board, and when you land on a space, then you get one of the Minecraft blocks and you flip it over, and it has a multiplication problem on the back. And so if you get it correct, you get to keep it. So you have to collect one of each kind, and there's 10 kinds. So we haven't tried this one yet. We're going to use it tomorrow for school. The kids are already excited, even though they don't know the details, just because it's Minecraft. She also has a Pokemon version, so I'll probably get that one going before long too. So there are some different ways to start practicing. I know it can really drag on for a while, but I promise you that it's worth it to just put in the time, because otherwise you'll get to when you're multiplying 2- and 3-digit problems and your kid will be really struggling, and not to mention, you know, division later on. So put in the time, just kind of let the rest of the math stuff go, just work on the multiplication. And if you need to, offer them a big prize when they get it all completed. Because, you know, if they have something that they're working towards, then maybe they'll be more likely to do that. So there you have it. It's not a big deal.